Okay, so this is just a quick video of going over domain and range when looking at the different types of relations. So just a review, domain is all of your X values and range is all of your Y values. So when you're looking at these, when you're listing your domain and range, you're always going to use brackets. So those little squigglies. And then you're going to list your numbers in order from least to greatest. And then if you have repeat numbers, you do not have to list them more than once. So looking at a table example, I'm going to look at my X values, which is our domain. So we have a -5, a -1, a 2, and a 5. So this one is already in order from least to greatest. So, and nothing repeats. So I'm just going to list it in brackets. And then for our range, which are our Y values, 2, 3, 3, 6. So this is what I mean. So we have 3 that repeats. So I only needed to list it once down here in the range. So in order 2, 3, 6. So this, then it asks if it's a function. Yes, it's a function because remember we are just looking at the X values when determining if it's a function or not. X does not repeat, so it is a function. It's okay if Y does. We're just worried about X. So I'm going to skip this one and just go to one that's not a function. So looking at X, we're going to put them in order. So I have a -8 from least to greatest. I mean, we have a -8, a -4, a -3, and then we had a 1 and a 1. So from that, I already know there are 2 X values of 1, so not a function because there are X values that repeat. And then for my range, I just put the Y's in order from least to greatest. So 0, 2, 3, 6, and 9. So those are our tables. Now moving on to a relation with ordered pairs. We're just going to do the same thing. It's just presented differently. So remember our coordinates are, bear with me, I'm writing with one hand and camera with the other. Our coordinates are X, comma, sorry, I'm doing, X, comma, Y. Oh, sorry. I color-coded them, that's why I did that. So these are X, comma, Y. So our domain, I'm listing my X values. So -1, 1, 1, 2. I do not need to list my ones twice, but also ones repeat, not a function. And then again, for my range, which is my second number in my coordinate, we have a -1, a 3, and a 6 if I'm going in order from least to greatest. So again, in our Y values, -1 repeats, but that's okay. Y is fine. We're worried about X. So for number 6, this is an example of one that is a function. So for 6, my X values, oh man, I did my colors backwards. Oh, I did up here, sorry. Okay, so my domain in order is -3, -2, 4, and 6. So my X's do not repeat, so it is a function. And then my range, if you notice, it's all zeros, and that's okay because I can repeat, but I'm just gonna write 0 one time, and that's okay. All right, then the last example before the graphs, I'm gonna do a separate video because those take a little longer to explain, but the last of this video is the mapping is gonna be the last one I explain on here. So for mapping, remember when we look at the X and Y values, when we look at X, well, first I'm gonna say domain and range. Okay, so for X, for domain, we're gonna write -5, 0, 2, 5. That's in order from least to greatest already for us. And then range is gonna be -3, 8, and 9. So this is a function because these don't repeat. And the way we can tell that they do not repeat is because each number only has one arrow coming from it. So an example of something that's not a function in a map relation is this 7. So there are 2 arrows coming out of this -7. So this one is just 1, and then this one has 2. So the domain for number 8 in order from least to greatest would be -8, -7, 0, and 1. And then our range in order from least to greatest is 1, 3, 7, 8. Because I do not need to write that repeating number more than once. It is not a function because, again, this 7 has 2 arrows coming out of it, and also 0 has 2 coming out of it. So that means that these x values happen twice. So that's it for these. Yes. Okay.